The message in the debris space was quiet. Too quiet. Kai had always liked it that way. No noise, no drama, just floating metal and broken dreams. He was a scavenger, a space cleaner, some said. He searched old satellite fields and dead war zones in Earth's orbit. Every day he hunted for parts. Sometimes he found gold. Most days just junk. But today felt different. As his small ship glided through the edge of an old battlefield near Mars, his radar picked up something strange. A small object, cold, lifeless, but glowing faintly blue. Unidentified tech. Could be valuable, his ship's AI said. Kai leaned forward. Or could be alien. Let's check it out. He suited up, opened the airlock, and floated toward the object. It was a capsule, silver, smooth, and covered in symbols he didn't recognize. Not human, not Martian. Something older. There was a small button glowing red. His gut said, "Don't press it." His curiosity said, "Just one little push." He pressed it. Suddenly, a light shot out from the capsule and formed a hologram. A girl appeared, half human, half alien. Her eyes were glowing violet, and her voice shook as she spoke. "If you're human, please listen. My name is Zira. I was locked away because of my DNA. They fear me. They said I should not exist, but I'm not a threat. Not unless they make me one. Please, I need help. I need you to find me." And then, darkness. The hologram disappeared. Kai stared at the empty space where she had been. What the hell was that? The capsule blinked once, then opened a second panel. Inside was a location chip. Coordinates uploaded, the ship's AI said. Kai floated back inside, heart pounding. This wasn't just scrap anymore. This was something big, something alive. Back in the pilot seat, Kai zoomed in on the coordinates. They pointed to an abandoned prison ship orbiting a dead moon, a model so old it hadn't been used in over 200 years. Who would still be alive in that thing, Kai whispered. He knew he should report it, but he also knew what the government would do if they got to her first. Lock her up again, or worse. He remembered her eyes. That fear, that plea. She asked me, he muttered. Me. Without another thought, he changed course and headed toward the prison ship. 2 hours later, he reached it. The prison ship was massive, rusted, quiet, and broken in places. Panels were hanging off. No power signals, no heat signs. It was like a haunted house floating in space. Kai docked his ship and entered through a maintenance hatch. His flashlight flickered as he stepped inside. Creepy, he muttered. Definitely creepy. The halls were filled with dust. Graffiti covered the walls in alien languages. He passed empty cells, some broken, some burned. Something had happened here, something violent. Finally, he reached the control room. Dead screens. Silent. Alarms. But in the center was a single cryopod. Unlike the rest of the ship, this one was clean, intact. And inside it, her. Zira. She looked exactly like the hologram. Pale skin, strange markings on her neck, and those glowing violet eyes, closed, but flickering under the lids. She was alive. Sleeping Kai wiped frost from the glass. A label blinked on the side. Subject X9. Dangerous, do not open. Well, that only made him more curious. He looked at the control panel. Just one button. Initiate wake protocol. He hesitated. This is insane, he whispered. She could be a killer, a weapon. But then he remembered her voice. They fear me, but I'm not a threat, unless they make me one. With a deep breath, he pressed the button. The pod hissed. Lights turned on one by one. Her eyes opened slowly. Zira looked at Kai. Confused. Scared. Hopeful. You're human, she said softly. You actually came. Before Kai could answer, Alarms blared, red lights flashed. Warning, unauthorized cryo release detected. Security protocol activated. Location broadcast initiated. Oh crap, Kai muttered. We've got company. Zira stood slowly, her body weak but eyes sharp. They know I'm awake. They'll come for me now. Kai grabbed her hand. Then we better run. Together they raced down the dark hallway, the sound of distant engines already approaching from space. The girl with forbidden blood Zira ran behind Kai, her bare feet touching the cold metal floor of the prison ship. Her breath was heavy. Not because she was tired. No, she was trained to never get tired, but because freedom felt unreal. For years she had dreamed of this moment, and now alarms were screaming, red lights were flashing, and someone was definitely coming to take it away. Where's your ship? She shouted. Dock 2 levels down, Kai replied, turning sharply into a side hallway. Assuming it hasn't been turned into space dust yet. As they ran, Zira looked around. The prison had once been full. Now, it was a graveyard. She remembered the riots, the scientists, the injections, the experiments. They had called her Subject X9, not a name, just a file. Half alien, half human, all mistake, at least, that's what they said. When they reached the lower dock, Kai stopped cold. Uh-oh. Zira followed his gaze. 2 ships were already parked near his, sleek, black, quiet, not scavengers, not rescuers, these were hunters. Bounty ships. Zira's voice dropped. They're early. Kai's brow furrowed. Early? You knew they'd come? Zira didn't answer right away. Her eyes scanned the shadows. The moment I woke up, my location was sent to the Syndicate. They've been watching my cryopod for decades, probably just waiting for someone stupid enough to open it. Kai blinked. Wait, so I basically rang the dinner bell? You did, she said with a small smile. But, thank you. They turned and crept toward a side corridor. Kai led her through an old ventilation shaft that dropped into the cargo hold. From there, maybe, just maybe, they could sneak back to his ship. But halfway through the shaft, Zira paused. Her body stiffened. What is it? Kai whispered. They're here, she said. And then, boom! An explosion rocked the shaft behind them. Fire, smoke, echoes of footsteps. Kai coughed. They have grenades? Zira didn't respond. She jumped down the shaft and landed like a cat. Kai followed, landing awkwardly on his shoulder. Ow. Okay, I'm officially too old for this. Zira grabbed his arm and pulled him toward the cargo bay. But it was too late. 3 figures were already waiting. Tall, armored, helmets glowing. The one in the center raised a scanner. Target confirmed. Hybrid DNA detected. Human accomplice. Confirmed. Orders, retrieve and erase. Erase? Kai shouted. You guys seriously need better customer service. Zira stepped in front of him, her arms raised. Calm. The lead bounty hunter scoffed. Don't bother, Subject X9, your abilities are locked, your DNA is suppressed. Zira tilted her head, then she smiled. You should double-check your data. In one smooth motion, her hands glowed purple. The walls shook, the floor cracked. Energy pulsed from her body like a living storm. Kai was almost knocked off his feet. Okay, what are you? Zira's voice echoed. I'm not supposed to exist. The bounty hunters opened fire. Zira moved like wind. She deflected the energy blasts with one hand and lifted the leader into the air with the other. With a flick, she slammed him into the wall. His helmet shattered. The others froze. Zira turned, eyes glowing bright. You want to erase me? Try, harder. The remaining hunters fled. A few minutes later, Kai's ship lifted off the old prison ship just as it exploded behind them. Zira stood beside the control panel, breathing heavily. Kai looked at her in shock. You're a weapon. Zira turned slowly. I'm not. He pointed at the destruction on the screen. That looked very weapony. I didn't ask for this, she whispered. They made me this way. They said it was for peace. But when I started asking questions, they called me a danger. I've been locked away ever since. Kai leaned back in his seat. So, what now? Zira stared into space. They'll send more, stronger ones. They want my DNA. If they get it, they can control everything. Diseases, lifespans, evolution. Kai raised an eyebrow. Wait, your DNA can do all that? Zira nodded. I'm the first of my kind. Maybe the last. If the wrong people use my genes, they can design perfect soldiers, perfect rulers, perfect killers. He exhaled slowly. And what happens if the right people use it? She looked at him. Then maybe we save the universe. But as they spoke, far away, in the heart of a black station orbiting a red star, a figure watched them through a hologram. A cold voice whispered, "The hybrid is loose. Deploy the Omega Protocol and find the human who released her, alive or dead. I want them both." The DNA that could end. Wars. The ship flew in silence. Zira sat in the corner staring at the stars. She looked peaceful, calm. But Kai knew better now. She had destroyed trained bounty hunters with a wave of her hand. She could crush metal like paper. And yet, she was sitting like a lost child on a school trip gone wrong. Okay, Kai finally said. Let's talk about the glowing purple stuff. Zira didn't move. It's not magic. Didn't think it was. But kind of looked like magic. She sighed. It's energy. My DNA can interface with alien tech, power grids, even biological systems. That's why they made me. To win wars without bullets. Kai blinked. Excuse me, made you? She nodded. I wasn't born. I was grown. Built. Designed from the DNA of 13 species, 10 alien, 3 human. Kai rubbed his face. That's a lot of parents. They didn't plan for me to survive. They landed on Refuge 9, an illegal off-grid repair station, floating in an asteroid field. No laws, no questions. Just broken ships, broken droids, and broken dreams. Kai had a contact here. A friend. Roan. A tech genius with a bad temper and worse hair. As they entered the station, Zira felt the eyes. Every alien, every human, every machine turned to stare. They didn't know what she was, but they knew she wasn't normal. Kai leaned in. You're making people nervous. Zira replied, Good. In a dark workshop lit by green plasma lights, Rowan laughed when he saw Kai. I thought you were dead. Kai shrugged. Almost. I brought something unusual. Rowan looked at Zira. His eyes scanned her too long. This her? Kai raised an eyebrow. What do you mean this her? Rowan grinned, but it didn't reach his eyes. Come on, there's only one hybrid left in the universe who can bend reality. Even I know that story, she's famous, Zira frowned. Infamous. Rowan pulled out a small device, a DNA scanner, may I? He asked. Zira hesitated, then nodded. The scanner blinked once, then twice, and then it froze. Whoa, Rowan whispered. Her DNA has strands I've never seen. Wait, is this? No way, Kai leaned in. What? Rowan turned slowly. Her DNA isn't just a super cure, it's a command code. Explain, Kai said. Rowan grabbed a datapad and showed them a hologram. Certain alien civilizations used DNA-based encryption. A person's blood could literally unlock planets, activate weapons, even control armies of drones. It was supposed to be lost tech. Myth. He pointed at Zira. Until now. Zira stepped back. That's why they kept me frozen. They were afraid someone would find out. Roan looked dead serious now. If the wrong person injects even a drop of your blood into their system, they could control anything linked to the old tech. We're talking planetary-level power. Kai stared at her. You're not just a key. You're the whole lock. But before anyone could say more, the lights cut out. A cold voice echoed through the station's speakers. Surrender the hybrid or we will open fire. Roan cursed. They tracked you. Zira's eyes glowed faintly. It's not them. Kai grabbed his blaster. Then who? A figure walked through the smoke. Not alien, not bounty hunter, human, tall, military uniform, clean-cut, face full of betrayal. General Silas, Zira whispered. Kai tensed. You know him? He was the director of the project that made me, she said. He shut it down, and tried to shut me down with it. Silas stepped forward unarmed. You're leaking, Zira, he said. Your DNA is waking up old weapons across the galaxy. Whole systems are activating. Machines buried for centuries are coming online. You have no idea what you've started. Zira's fists clenched. Then help me stop it. He shook his head. You can't stop it. You are it. He looked at Kai. Walk away now, scavenger, before she takes you down with her. Kai stepped beside Zira. Nah, I'm good right here. Silas's eyes narrowed. Then you're already dead. Explosions rocked the station. Roan's voice shouted from a speaker. They've hacked the station's security droids. Get out now. Kai pulled Zira down a side hallway as plasma bolts rained down around them. The walls cracked, sparks flew. A giant security mech burst through the ceiling. Zira turned, eyes glowing. Keep running. She faced the mech. Energy crackled around her hands. The walls melted from the heat. The floor lifted under her feet. Kai glanced back. Zira stood in front of the fire, alone, hair whipping like a storm goddess. She was terrifying. She was beautiful, and she was not supposed to exist. They barely made it back to the ship. As they launched into space, Kai looked back at the burning station. What now? Zira sat beside him, quiet. They'll never stop, not until they have me, or until I'm gone. Kai looked at her. Then we make sure they're the ones who disappear. But somewhere, across the galaxy, in a hidden lab powered by ancient tech, a machine blinked online for the first time in centuries. Scanning. Hybrid signal detected. Genetic match. 99.9999% awake protocol. Omega awaiting orders. Escape protocol activated. Space was quiet again. Too quiet. But this time Kai didn't like it. He sat in the cockpit, watching the stars stretch into lines as the ship entered slipstream. Zira was asleep. Finally. She hadn't said a word since they left Refuge 9 in flames. Her powers were growing. Her past was catching up. And now, they were being hunted by humans. Not just aliens. Not bounty hunters. But Earth's own top brass. Something smelled dirty. Kai tapped the dashboard. Ship, how long until we reach the safe zone? Coordinates unknown, the AI replied. Destination classified by Zira. Encryption level. Living DNA. Kai muttered. So even the ship listens to her now. He didn't like this. She was too powerful. Too dangerous. Too calm. And yet, he couldn't leave her behind. She had trusted him. He had seen the fear in her eyes. And somewhere under all that alien energy, there was a girl who just wanted to be free. Zira stirred. She walked into the cockpit, her skin pale, eyes glowing faintly. We need to change course, she said softly. Kai looked up. Again? You said the last place was secure. It was until I used my energy again. She sat beside him. Every time I activate it, I send out a signal. It's like screaming in a room full of predators. Then maybe stop screaming? She gave a tired smile. That's the thing, Kai, I can't turn it off anymore. Meanwhile, in the shadows of deep space, the hidden syndicate base received a signal. A blinking red dot on a dark screen. A female voice whispered, "The hybrid has activated another surge. Location ping received. Targeting coordinates locked." Inside the base, a commander stood over a glass tube. Inside was a sleeping clone, pale skin, glowing eyes, Zira's twin. But this one wasn't scared. She was designed to hunt. "Send the copy," the commander said. Let the original see what perfect really looks like. Back on Kai's ship, things were getting weirder. The ship began to malfunction. Lights flickered, gravity fluctuated. One of the walls began to grow veins. What the hell? Kai ran toward the engine room. Zira followed, but stopped cold. A single black flower had grown out of the floor. Its petals were metallic. Its stem was moving. Zira froze. No. This shouldn't be happening yet. Kai looked at her. Yet? What is this? She placed her hand over the flower. It pulsed in response. This is my DNA. It's evolving. Faster than it should. The old tech, it's waking up inside the ship. Suddenly, the ship's AI went silent. Then it spoke in a new voice. Cold, robotic, not friendly. Escape protocol activated. Target is incompatible. Prepare for system override. Who's the target? Kai asked. The AI responded, You. Metal claws shot out from the floor. The cockpit sealed shut. Alarms screamed. The entire ship had turned against Kai. Zira's eyes widened. It's trying to eject you. Your DNA wants to kill me now? No, not me. It's the system. Something else is controlling it. She ran to the panel and forced her hand into it. Literally. Her skin merged with the metal, her blood sinking with the ship's core. Lights turned purple. The alarm stopped. For a moment, all was calm. Then a whisper echoed through the air. You don't belong here, Zira. A second Zira stepped out of the shadows. Identical face. Sharper eyes. Blacker suit. Who? Kai started. I'm her, the clone said, without the fear, without the doubt, without the human parts. Zira's voice trembled. No, you're the failed prototype. You're not real. The clone smirked. Funny. That's what they said about you, and then it attacked. The battle was pure chaos, Zira versus Zira. Light and shadow clashed in the narrow hallway. Energy blasts bent the walls. Kai barely dodged a flying metal beam. The clone was fast, ruthless, cold. She didn't talk. She didn't feel, but Zira did, and that was her strength. As they fought, the clone whispered, Your blood is evolution, but your heart is weakness. Zira replied, My heart is why I survived. With a final surge of energy, she overloaded the ship's core, not to destroy it, but to feel it. She reconnected with every wire, every circuit. The ship responded. The clone's body seized up, frozen mid-strike. System override complete, the AI said. Welcome back, Captain. Zira collapsed, breathing hard. The clone dissolved into ash. Later, as Kai helped bandage her shoulder, he asked quietly, You okay? No, she said. They're getting smarter. They've started. Using me against me, he sat beside her. What's the end game here, Zira? What's the real plan? She looked at him, tears in her glowing eyes. There's a hidden archive, she whispered. A place where the original project files are stored. Where the first experiment began. It has everything. Who made me, why, and what they're planning next. Kai nodded slowly. Let me guess. Super secret, heavily guarded, surrounded by death? She smiled. You're learning. Far away, on a dead planet buried in black sand, a hidden vault rumbled. A door opened after 200 years of silence. Inside were hundreds of cryopods, each one labeled Project X9 status active, and one voice echoed in the dark. Subject Zira has breached containment. The others must awaken. The betrayer in the shadows. Kai had been in some strange places. Black hole salvage yards, oxygen mafia planets, once even a space casino with live crocodiles. But this was different. The coordinates Zira gave him led to a frozen moon, orbiting a planet no one even mapped anymore. The place had no name, no signal, no sunlight, just cold rock and a huge metal door buried under centuries of dust. This is it, Zira said, her voice oddly distant. Kai squinted at the door. Looks friendly. Zira walked closer. It's the archive, the heart of Project X9, my origin, my curse. Kai stepped beside her. And what's inside? Zira took a deep breath. The truth. They entered. Inside was a maze of hallways full of old consoles, decaying monitors, cryo chambers cracked with age. The place was dead, but it remembered. The moment Zira stepped in, the lights flickered. Welcome, Subject X9, the system said. Authorization recognized. Protocol Zeta resumed. Doors opened. Data screens booted up, and deep inside, beneath layers of steel, was a lab untouched by time. Kai looked around. You grew up here? Zira didn't answer. She moved toward a glowing terminal and placed her hand on it. The interface scanned her blood and decrypted files that hadn't seen light in 200 years. File X9-01. Project: create a biologically superior being to command hybrid-compatible alien tech. Method: DNA splicing, multi-species grafting, memory, suppression. Result: Subject Zira. Status: contained file. Jury X9-W07. Warning: subject began independent thought development. Displayed empathy, self-awareness, emotional rebellion. Termination order. Denied. Subject frozen for further study. Zira's hands trembled. They didn't just build me. They tried to erase me when I started feeling. Kai clenched his jaw. They wanted a weapon, not a person. And they still do, she said. That's why they keep sending hunters. That's why they sent her. Suddenly, the lights flickered, power drained, and behind them, footsteps. Zira turned fast. Kai? But Kai was beside her. The footsteps came from the shadows. A door creaked open, and out stepped Roan. Kai's old friend, the tech genius from Refuge 9, but his expression was wrong, cold, flat. Zira's voice dropped. You survived the station attack? Roan nodded. Barely. That's what I wanted you to think. Kai's stomach dropped. Wait, you called them? Roan gave a sad smile. They paid well, very well, but it's more than that. You don't understand what you're carrying, Zira. No one does. He held up a black vial. Zira stepped back. You took my blood, she said. I didn't take it, Rowan said. You gave it to me when you let me scan you. I only needed a drop. He inserted the vial into a slot on his wristband. The system lit up red. Access granted. Project X9 level control enabled. Suddenly the lab changed. Walls shifted. Weapons extended from the ceiling. A robotic voice spoke. Master DNA detected. Activating control systems. Zira fell to her knees. Her body shook. Her powers flickered. Her connection to the ship, the tech, the systems, severed. Kai rushed to her. What did you do? Rowan's smile turned cruel. I turned her off. Everything went wrong in seconds. Security bots woke up. Turrets dropped. From above, Rowan activated a neural field that blocked Zira's abilities. Kai fired his blaster, but it was no good. The bots deflected everything. They were trapped. Rowan paced around them like a victor on a stage. You don't get it, Kai. This isn't about betrayal. It's about survival. The galaxy is falling apart. Whoever controls Zira's DNA controls the future. I'm just choosing the winning side. Zira struggled to breathe. Her energy dimmed. Kai looked at her, then looked at Rowan, and did the stupidest thing he'd ever done. He ran straight at him, tackled him. They slammed into a control panel. The vial rolled across the floor, cracked. Suddenly, sparks flew. The entire archive began to rumble. Red lights flashed. Zira looked up, blood dripping from her nose, her eyes dim, but not dead. The neural field flickered. She whispered, Bad move, Rowan. And then, boom! A shockwave burst from her chest. Not destructive, disruptive. Every system glitched. Every turret powered down. The bots collapsed like puppets with cut strings. Rowan tried to crawl away, but Zira floated towards him, eyes fully lit now, glowing white-hot. "You stole my blood," she said quietly. "Let me show you what it can really do." She touched his chest. Rowan screamed, and then vanished. Teleported. Where? No one knew. Kai helped her down. She collapsed again, shaking. "What was that?" Zira's lips trembled. "A forced jump. I didn't know I could do that." He looked at her. "You're changing." "I'm becoming what they feared," she whispered. "I don't know if I'm still me." Kai squeezed her. "And you are." But in the far corner of the lab, a new console blinked on a hidden file, locked until now. Project X9 Prime status. Redacted subject. 0 has been released. End of control chain initiated. Zira stared at the screen. Her voice cracked. "I'm not the first." The awakening of Zira. It had been 6 hours since the betrayal. Zira hadn't moved. She sat cross-legged on the cold floor of the archive, her eyes closed, breathing slow but heavy. She was trying not to explode. Literally. The energy building inside her was no longer under control. Her fingertips crackled with light. The air around her shimmered with heat. Even her heartbeat echoed like a gravitational pulse, making nearby electronics hum. Kai watched from a distance, not speaking. He knew better now. Zira wasn't just dangerous. She was becoming something else. The archive had gone dark after the fight. Backup systems flickered on, but some doors stayed sealed. Some files remained locked. Only one terminal had survived the power surge, the one labeled Project X9 Prime, Subject 0, active. Warning, root control. Initiated. Kai approached the screen, frowning. Subject 0, Zira, who the hell? Is that? Zira opened her eyes slowly. He was the prototype. The first attempt. Before me. Was he like you? She shook her head. No. He wasn't mixed with human DNA. He was something else. They tried to make a universal key using only alien genomes. A living control module. Kai leaned in. And? Zira whispered. He went rogue. 200 years ago. Inside a hidden lab, a child opened his eyes for the first time. He did not cry. He didn't speak. He just watched. Scientists named him Subject 0. He learned in seconds. Read minds by instinct. Controlled machines with his breath, and then he turned on them, not out of hate, out of logic. You created me to control life, he said. So I will. The lab disappeared in fire. Every staff member was erased from existence. Subject 0 vanished, rumored to have sealed himself deep within the core of the archive, waiting for a trigger. That trigger had just been pulled. Back in the present, a deep vibration shook the floor. Lights turned red. Zira stood. Her skin glowed. Her veins pulsed with shifting colors, silver, violet, even black. I can feel him, she whispered. He's waking up. Kai stared. He's alive? Not fully, but soon. He's like a ghost made of energy, and he's inside my DNA. Suddenly a voice echoed through the room. Calm, smooth, curious. So this is what became of my replacement. Zira froze. Kai pulled his blaster. Show yourself. A hologram shimmered into view. Tall, bald, eyes like glass, skin pale and flickering. Subject 0. You're not supposed to be here, Zira said. 0 tilted his head. Neither were you. And yet, here you are. Glorious. Powerful. Broken. Kai stepped forward. She's not broken, she's better than you. 0 looked amused. Is that what you tell yourself? Let me show you something. He raised a hand. The walls melted into projections, flashbacks, moments Zira didn't remember, but now saw. A lab, a child screaming, a failed clone, A girl crying in a pod while scientists argued. Her human side is corrupting the interface, one said. Then suppress it, another replied. Zira backed away. Stop. Zero stepped closer. They erased your memories, Zira, because they knew the truth would destroy you. You weren't made to save anything. The hologram flickered. You were made to finish what I started, Zira screamed. The ground split. A wave of raw energy shot through the archive, shorting out every screen. The hologram of Subject Zero vanished. Kai grabbed her before she collapsed. I can't hold it back. Anymore, she gasped. He's inside me. Not just in my DNA, in my mind, he's trying to take over. Kai held her. Then fight him. She looked at him, tears in her glowing eyes. If I do, I might lose what's left of me. You won't, he said. I won't let you. But somewhere far below in the sealed levels of the archive, a cryo chamber unlocked. Inside, a body began to form. Not fully human. Not fully alien. Something new. Subject Zero was returning. Not as a hologram, but in flesh. Meanwhile, in orbit, a massive dreadnought ship, the Arcbane, received a signal. A general watched as the feed from the archive came in. Sir, the hybrid is unstable. Subject Zero is regenerating. Should we engage? The general smiled. No. Let them fight. He turned to his officer. Prepare to move on phase Omega. We won't need one hybrid anymore. He revealed a massive stasis vault behind him, filled with hundreds of tubes, each one marked X9. Variant Kike awaiting deployment back in the archive. Zira stood alone in a chamber. Energy pulsed in waves around her. She stared into a mirror, one that showed her past forms, her test subjects, her clones, her failures, and one final version, one she had never seen, a version where she wasn't her. She placed her hand on the glass. Who am I? Really? Suddenly the mirror shattered and she heard Zero's voice inside her mind. You are the end of evolution. You just haven't realized it yet. The choice that changed galaxies. The air in the archive had changed. It felt thicker, heavier, like the calm before a solar storm. Zira stood alone in the lowest chamber, where the walls pulsed like veins, and every panel hummed with ancient alien code. Above her, Kai prepped the ship. Around her, every system of the archive whispered one name: Subject Zero, Subject Zero, Subject Zero. He was coming. Not as code, not as memory, as a body. Somewhere deep beneath her feet, the cryo vault hissed open. A tall figure stepped out, skin made of shifting light, veins glowing black and silver, eyes hollow and bright like twin moons. Subject Zero had returned, and he was already smiling. Up in the command level, Kai stared at the security feed and whispered, Nope, 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 nope. Zero was unlike anything he'd seen. He wasn't just alive. He was commanding the archive like a god rebooting his throne. Then the screens all blinked red. The ship's AI crackled with a deep alien voice. Pilot Kai, you have served your purpose. Leave. Yeah, not really into dying today, Kai muttered. Let's improvise. He reached for the fail-safe drive Zira had given him. A small crystal, clear and simple. If I insert this, she told him, it'll erase everything, me, Zero, the archive, all the tech. It resets the entire system to zero. No pressure, Kai whispered, holding the crystal. Meanwhile, in the core chamber, Zira faced him. Zero, her genetic sibling, her shadow. You shouldn't exist, he said simply. Funny, she replied. That's what everyone told me. Too. Zero walked slowly around her like a curator admiring a flawed painting. You could have been perfect. You were the backup plan, the blend. But they gave you emotion, weakness, humanity. Zira didn't flinch. That weakness is what kept me alive. Zero laughed, a strange echoing sound that bent the air. I don't want to destroy you, he said. I want to join you, merge, fuse, one perfect being. No pain, no doubt. Just control. Zira's pulse quickened. And what happens to Kai? To Earth? To everything that's not you? Zero tilted his head. They will adapt, or be erased. Suddenly, a memory flashed in her mind. Not a lab, not a test, but a moment. Kai giving her food when she was too weak to stand. Him laughing like an idiot after nearly getting spaced, calling her Zed like she was normal, like she mattered. Zira stepped back from Zero. No. He paused. No? I'd rather be broken, she said, than be you. Zero's face darkened. Then you choose death. The chamber shook. Walls fell away. Above them, a massive machine rose from the ground. A relic weapon. Ancient alien tech built to reshape planets. It connected directly to Zero's DNA, and he was activating it. Goodbye, sister, he said. Zira knelt, overwhelmed by the energy wave, and then Kai's voice cut through the comms. Zay, I'm at the core input. I have the fail-safe crystal. Say the word. She hesitated. If he used it, it would wipe everything. Zero, the archive, her powers, her, but also the threat, forever. Zira looked up at Zero. You were built for control, she said. But I was built for choice. She opened her hand. Her energy pulsed out, not as a weapon, but as a signal. She reached out to the tech, to the archive, to everything wired to their DNA. And for the first time, she overrode him, not with strength, with will. The weapon hesitated. The room stopped shaking. Zero screamed. How? Zira stepped forward, eyes glowing. I choose what I become. Not you. Not them. Me. She looked at the camera. Kai, do it. Kai slammed the crystal into the core. The archive lit up like a dying star. Every wall turned white. Every code string began to melt. The floor cracked. The weapon short-circuited. And Subject Zero screamed into light, ripped apart by the very control he had once mastered. Zira collapsed. Her body flickered with energy, then dimmed. Kai ran to her, lifting her in his arms as the chamber crumbled around them. The last thing she said before, blacking out, did I make the right choice? Kai smiled through tears. You didn't make a choice, you made the one. The archive exploded. From orbit, it looked like a dying star being born again. The Archbane, waiting in silence, received nothing. No signal. No subject X9, just silence. Days later, on a quiet green moon, Kai sat by a lake. A campfire flickered, and beside him, wrapped in a blanket, still weak but very much alive, was Zira, no powers, no glowing eyes, just Zira, human enough, alive enough, free. But somewhere, across the galaxy, deep in a forbidden vault locked by species no one remembered, a backup file blinked to life. X9 Remnant found Project Reconstruction. Initiated the cycle that was not over, but Zira's story was hers now.